Hey, homerjnick here with another update on the state of cheating on all platforms for Diablo 3. I keep getting some comments on my older videos asking if this exploit or that exploit still exists in Diablo 3. So I thought I would give a definitive update on Diablo 3 from the point of online seasonal play with each of the 4 platforms: PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One and the recent addition of Nintendo Switch, and confirm just what is the current state of cheating on these platforms for Diablo 3 on seasonal play. Now, many people ask, well, why do I care so much? Who cares if people cheat? There's no prizes for competing on the leaderboards. Who cares if you're going to actively cheat? And while some people feel like that, it's just for a bit of fun, some players don't. Some players invest 3 months of their lives to compete on the leaderboards. Some groups invest time and energy every day to play so they can compete against other groups in Diablo 3 in seasons. And whilst there is no real reward, that is utterly irrelevant. If people are cheating and taking the position of legit players, then why would you invest 3 months of your life trying to compete against those players? So videos like this are not complaining about the exploits or cheats, they're simply highlighting them so that people can make an informed decision as to whether they want to compete on Diablo 3 in seasons. So that said, let's have a review of each platform and advise of the current exploits and cheats people are using. Let us start with the PC. Given by far the majority of players for Diablo 3 are on PC, most of the 30 million units sold are for the PC. Now, as we know, Diablo 3 on PC is always online. You cannot play offline, and save files are server-side, meaning you cannot access those save files on PC. Thus, the 2 real cheats that exist on PC are botting and map hacks. Map hacks like TurboHUD are free programs that overlay extra information on the Diablo 3 screen, offering players to have an advantage over the players who do not use this mod. It can offer you the ability to know where the pylons are, what type of pylons they are, where the elites are, what affixes they have, etc. Which, of course, when you're pushing hard in a greater rift for a leaderboard entry, then this offers an unfair advantage over the players who are not using it, because that was not intended to be in the game. Botting is where a program plays Diablo 3 for you, meaning players can go to work or school and the botting program can play the game for you. It can collect bounty mats, it can collect GR keys, it can collect gear, it can collect crafting mats, and most importantly, it can farm Paragon. Imagine a player not having to do any of that himself, but a program does it for you. Given that Paragon generally just wins the game for you, the higher the Paragon, the higher up the leaderboards you're going to be, botting offers players huge advantages, and you will find in the top end of the leaderboards that there's a lot of botters in there. Blizzard occasionally do ban waves, but these are infrequent and ineffective. So the summary for the PC Diablo 3 situation with cheating is that map hacks and botting are widely used. So let us move on to PlayStation 4. All consoles do not use servers to run the game. Consoles use peer-to-peer connections and connect to each other's PlayStation, and the save files are on the console itself. Servers are only involved with console version of Diablo 3 to tell us when a season is live or to enable a community buff. So on the PlayStation 4 there are 3 main ways to cheat. You can restore your save file from backup, you can exploit the offline save feature to try and get primals, and the last one is using a save editor. A PlayStation 4 can back up save files to a USB stick or cloud storage. If players in hardcore die on a season on PlayStation 4, then they can simply restore their character from the backup of their save file. Thus, you'll probably notice on the leaderboard entry for hardcore on consoles that the builds used there are very similar to softcore builds for raw damage. That's perhaps not so true on the PC leaderboards. This is because console players can restore their saves if they die in hardcore. On PlayStation 4, the game saves at various points in the game. What a player can do is use bounty mats to reforge gear to see if a reforge results in a primal. And if it doesn't, the players can then force quit the game without saving, meaning upon reload the game is at the point of last save, which is prior to the player reforging. This means he still has his reforged mats, and the player can then simply use those mats to reforge another item to see if it is a primal. So players are saving up 10 different versions of the same item, and they're using their reforged mats to see if the first item is a primal, and if it doesn't, they force quit the game, which doesn't save them using those mats. They reload, the mats are still there, and then they go on to reforge the second version of that item and see if it's a primal. And this is how players on the PlayStation 4 are getting vast amounts of primals in their build compared to PC. The last exploit on PlayStation 4 is a save editor, where players can edit certain attributes on their seasonal characters. This means that they can add perhaps 50,000 main stat or armor or vitality to their seasonal toon. This was the latest exploit to hit the PlayStation 4 and is still being used. So the summary for the PlayStation 4 is you can restore your save if you die in hardcore, you can quit the game without saving to see if a piece of gear is going to become a primal, and players can use a save editor to edit certain stats on their character. So let's move on to the Xbox One, and this will be very quick because the Xbox One has the same first two cheats as the PlayStation 4. In that hardcore players can restore their saves if they die, players can dashboard the game so it doesn't save, and they can do the Reforged cheat as well to get more primals. So the Xbox can do those first two cheats. The Xbox has no save editor. I think the Xbox One has not been hacked, it has double encryption or something like that, and thus is the cleanest of all console versions, in that all you can do is restore your save if you die, or you can dashboard the game and do the primal exploit. So that's the summary for the Xbox One. So last but not least, the Nintendo Switch version of Diablo 3 was released on the 2nd of November, and they went straight into the current season. Now after just 1 week of season on Switch, players like this had augments at the level 150. PC players, PlayStation 4 players, Xbox One players cannot get 150 augments on their gear in a season, let alone 1 week after season starts. It means on Switch the leaderboards after 1 week were heavily tainted with high GR clears and record times like this one you see on screen. How has that been done? Well, save editors exist also for Switch. Now whilst on PlayStation 4 save editors can only edit certain attributes on your characters, it seems on Switch you can add in or change anything with players. You can edit the gear, you can edit the stats, you can edit your augments, you can edit the legendary gems. This means that the Switch version is the worst platform to play Diablo 3 competitively in seasons, given that players can edit anything in their save, and there's no checks when the game loads that save. Anything goes if you can edit that save. So the summary for the Switch is, well, you've got save editors that can edit anything in Diablo 3, which makes it the worst, as I said, platform to play Diablo 3 on seasons. So that was a quick roundup of the state of cheating on Diablo 3 on all platforms. There are other forms of cheating in non-season, like in console. You can duplicate items, you can have modded gear where the stats are far out with the range that of normal, but there's no competitiveness, there's no leaderboards on non-season for consoles, so I didn't mention them, nor did I mention PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 since they don't have seasons, because they don't have any greater risk. They're still in patch 2.06. So on the screen there's a summary of all the platforms and the current state of cheating on Diablo 3. It is clear to see from this that for Diablo 4, Blizzard must up their game in terms of anti-cheats. They must stop botting and they must make consoles online only. But we'll wait and see. Hey, I'm homerjnick, and I'll leave you with a question. Can you edit a save file on a mobile?